Here with Keion Wakefield, 2016 Louisville male wide receiver. Keion, you've hit the second month of summer. We're closing in on July. You had a pretty gaudy camp schedule. Louisville, Clemson, Oregon. Pretty well-rounded camp schedule to go along with it. What were your thoughts on the Clemson camp? I know that was your first one that you went out of town for. And what were your thoughts on Clemson?
Clemson's very nice. It is. They're very organized. They run their stuff very well. I just like Clemson.
All right, now, how do you think you performed at the camp as far as pass catching and things like that?
I think I did good. I can work on some more stuff. I could have did better, but overall, I think I had a good camp.
Did you get any input from the coaches, and do you feel like Clemson will be there as far as recruitment, as your recruitment is concerned?
Yeah, they'll be there recruiting because they're a top gun school. They like to pass a lot. But yeah, I did get some feedback from the coaches, just telling me to keep working on some things, and I'll hear from them this fall.
Anything that they pointed out, that you can really work on?
They just pointed out just route running, crisp it up, and then getting bigger in the weight room.
Getting bigger in the weight room, is that something that you plan on working on? You're becoming you already are one of the best prospects in the 2016 class, but you're a little small in comparison to the wide receivers nationwide. How do you think that's going to change in the next few months?
That's going to change big. I'm going to hit the weights real hard coming this dead period, and coming next week, I'm starting to hit the weights real hard.
All right, you checked out Louisville before you got going with your out-of-town camps. You mind telling us how the camp went with the Cards, and as far as they're recruiting you, how that'll go?
It's going good. I like the Cards because they're a hometown school. They're right in the backyard, and it's just a good school, and I think I did good at the camp.
Reports from that camp that was a pretty hard camp. A lot of balls thrown, a lot of balls caught, a lot of routes ran. How does that camp compare with the other camps that you went to?
It compared differently because at the other camps, it was a lot more receivers, and like you said, it was a lot more balls thrown and a lot more routes ran because there wasn't that many receivers there. So I had a lot of reps. Okay,
now you went to the school that you proclaimed as your dream school, which is Oregon out west. You went out there, you and your family spent about a week out there, and you checked out everything that the West Coast had to offer. I guess somewhat all that the West Coast had to offer, but as far as just the school of Oregon and the town of Eugene, what did you think of it?
It's a beautiful town, and it's a beautiful campus, and I love Oregon. They just treat you like family, and they make you feel a part of the Oregon community.
I know that you had some talks with Coach Lubbock, that's his name, the wide receiver coach? Lubbock. I know that you had some talks with him beforehand, before the camp, him kind of checking on you recruiting-wise. I know they weren't too serious. It was more of like, we're aware of him. We want him to know that, we know who he is. But now this camp, do you think like the camp's going to change it as far as them seriously recruiting you? I know you took home the wide receiver MVP, and we'll get to that in a second. But, do you think that will make them come around and say, yeah, he's going to be on our board?
Yeah, I think it's going to change big time because Coach Lubbock, he was on me a little bit, but now he's on me a lot, talking about what I need to do and just improving and making me feel like a part of one of his receivers.
Like I just said that you won the wide receiver MVP there. What's that mean? You went out there, and I know you were pretty determined talking to you before the camp to get there and show them exactly what you were about. And you kind of had the mantra of I'm gonna put the rest of the state on my back as well, and kind of let them know how Kentucky football players do it. What does that MVP award say about how you're doing and what you went out there and did, and how what kind of accomplishment that is?
It meant a lot because coming from Kentucky all the way out West Coast and winning the MVP when you got a lot of great players out west, that means a lot.
And do you think that obviously an offer didn't come while you were out there, but do you think that MVP is the start of something good?
It is, because that was telling me they don't offer people right off the back. They have to see what you're really about, and they go through the whole recruiting process. They don't just offer people right off the back. They actually go through the whole recruiting process to offer you.
Okay, now we're going to talk about Kentucky. Kentucky's been there as long as anybody has, offered you first. Your brother goes there, the whole 9 yards. And you didn't get to camp out there this summer, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, that's not going to hurt their chances in landing you, is it?
No, sir.
You guys got a pretty good rapport with Coach Brown and the staff. Just talk about Kentucky and your relationship with them.
Kentucky, they always been in the top of my recruiting board. But it's not gonna hurt anything because they will always be there, and we always keep in touch. Like you said, my brother goes there, so I'm always down there. So they're not gonna lose a spot.
You plan on getting down there in July at all? I know your dad said you guys were going to kind of cool it on the camping. You were getting a little tired of it, and it was a lot of repetition. And you already have the offer from Kentucky, so it's not really, you know, not really that big of a deal for you to get out there because you're not waiting on an offer or anything, and a camp's not going to change anything drastically for you. So will you get out there in July, and is it a big deal to you to get out there in July?
Hopefully I can get out there in July because they have showed me a lot of love. And they was the first one to offer, so I'm going to try to get back out there and just see the coaches and all of that.
You know, Cincinnati's kind of been like a quiet kind of, very quiet in your recruitment, you know, not much talk about it. And you got the offer when you went up there on a visit with your quarterback, Davis Mattingly. You know, how do you think Cincinnati in this? I know they're lacking behind UK, I guess. And, you know, if Oregon were to offer, they would shoot way up as far as, you know, your list of schools. So where does Cincinnati sit?
Cincinnati sits in my top, one of my top schools for the simple fact they offer, and they also, it's not too far from home. And I like their style of offense. They pass a lot, and Coach Rowland, he shows a lot of love too. He treats you like family.
You know, out of those two schools, I guess Cincinnati and Kentucky, the only two that offers. Do you have a favorite out of those two, or
no, not
too early?
Yeah.